Before we get into this, I know what you're thinking. Where the heck are you? We've never seen a whiteboard in your videos. We've never seen this gray wall. Where are you? I'm in my husband's office. If you watched my most previous video, then you know I've been struggling trying to revise and draft and outline and basically write. I've been having a bit of writer's block and just lack of inspiration. So given that, I felt like it might be good to get out of the house. My husband had some work to do tonight after work was done. So I went to the gym after work, showered, came back with him, and I'm basically just using one of the spare offices they have in this building to try to get some outlining done. Nanowrimo starts on Friday this week? What day is? Nanowrimo starts on Friday, and I'm supposed to be outlining the second book of the House of Aphtho series tonight, so that way I can start drafting it on Friday. So am I behind? Yeah, I absolutely am behind, but I'm feeling optimistic. So tonight, the goals are to finish outlining what needs to be revised still in book 1. That doesn't have to be super detailed because it's already written, so essentially I just need to summarize, like, is there anything big changing, yada yada. So that part shouldn't take me super long, but then I do have to outline all of book 2. I'm gonna start with looking through the notes and ideas that I currently have for the project, narrowing down what's irrelevant to what is good ideas I can actually turn into scenes. And my goal is to outline at least 5 scenes tonight that are like from first start of book to end of book. And in this video, I also really want to give some tips for outlining. And if you've watched my channel for a while, you're probably thinking, Andy, why are you qualified to give tips when you pantsed your first book? And that would be a fair question to ask. Maybe I'm not, and that's fine too. So you can take all of this with a grain of salt, and there's probably much better processes than mine out there. So if you don't like what I suggest and you find something else that works for you, no offense taken. I totally think that's awesome. But I'm just gonna share with you guys what outlining kind of 101 looks like for me moving forward. While I still would consider myself kind of a plantser, when you're writing a series, you kind of have to be intentional when you start planning the second and third book that they correlate well with the first book and that you have kind of a meta story going on from book 1 to book 3. So yeah, anyway, I'm putting my brain into high thinking mode and trying to brainstorm on a macro level instead of just a micro level. So I kind of have the vibe for book 2 already curated in my mind. I don't really have like a running Pinterest board or anything for that yet. I'd like to, but I'm gonna be honest, every time I go on Pinterest to try to find stuff for this series, it just comes up short. I can never find stuff that's actually what's in my head. So I'm just gonna let it live in my head. But anyway, I'm gonna put on some Narnia or Lord of the Rings soundtrack. I'm gonna look through notes from this past year, and we're gonna get into outlining. Also, hi, if you don't know me, my name is Andy. Welcome to my channel. I am a revising debut author working on her debut fantasy series. So stick around if that's interesting to you. Okay, let's get into doing some outlining. Quite as short of time as I said it would, because nothing ever does, to finish outlining book 1, but I did it, and I'm gonna be honest with you guys, this is a huge accomplishment for me right now, because I just outlined through the rest of what I was unsure about for book 1 and what had kept me from working on this book for 2.5 weeks. So I feel really optimistic that after Nano, I'm gonna be able to sit down and actually like write the rest of book 1, or not write it, but like revise it. And it's so exciting. And there's some scenes that will need completely scrapped out of book 1 and just rewritten, and new ones need to go in their place. But there's others that I was able to write into the outline that I should just have to shift the scene a little bit and it will still work. So anyway, that feels like a huge breakthrough, and I recorded myself finishing that outline, and I'm sure it looked like I was listening to music for how much I was bobbing my head. That was me just being excited about what I was doing. So anyway, I'm excited I was able to capture that excitement on camera and just that moment. It did unfortunately take me nearly an hour and a half to finish outlining this. There was a brief interruption, funny story, where my husband took our dog out because we brought him to the office, and the doors here automatically lock behind you, and he asked me to let him in, and I did, but I forgot to bring his key, so then we were locked out with no keys, no phone, nothing, like no car keys, nothing. So we were like, how do we get back in? And luckily, my husband is just great, and he was able to literally get the door open to the office with a piece of cardboard. So way beyond my skill set. I could never do that. But I was very grateful because it was my fault and I was feeling bad. So I was like, ugh. But anyway, got it open, which was great. I am going to try and do a very, very skimpy outline of book 2 tonight before we go home. I think I have probably like 30 minutes to an hour to work on it before we leave. And then I'll probably honestly finish filming this tomorrow and pick back up on doing some outlining work tomorrow. But yeah, that's kind of where I'm at. I do want to say, going back to like the outlining 101 thing that I said this video would be, there's a couple things that I think are really important when you outline that you should know, whether you are a seasoned writer or a first-time writer. This is my 2 cents. Again, like I said at the beginning of the video, take it or leave it. But I think when you outline, first you need to have an idea or an image in your mind of the story you want to tell. So whether that's, you know, a video you saw or another book that you read or a picture you saw, whatever it was that was your root of inspiration, figure out what that image or that root of inspiration looks like fleshed out. What about that piece inspired you, and what did it emote in you that made you want to sit down and tell a story that was kind of blooming out of that seed of inspiration. So that's the first thing that you need, I think, prior to an outline, is that kind of brainstorm, imaginative, picturesque thing in your mind that pushes you towards a world or a story or a character that you really like, or a plot issue or something you can really sink your teeth into as a writer. The next thing is to outline the main problem, or not maybe outline, but select the problem. This was the part of writing this book that came to me in that story I tell of doing the dishes, and it just was like, boom. For me, it was the like plot problem, like here's what book 1 to book 3 is the problem. And then the like main issue in book 1 came as I started to write notes down and think about that. And it all just kind of was like, boom, there it was. The more I kind of chipped away at that main problem that had appeared in my mind. Dig into the inspiration, and then spend time thinking about the problem that can exist within that inspiration that could manifest itself into a story with the right creative thinking and process in place. And then the third thing is, when you outline a story, obviously you want to have things that feel like a distinct beginning, middle, end, a rise in conflict, character development or growth, all these good details that are really important. But here's the secret to outlining that I think everyone needs to know. When you outline a book, you need to leave it open to adjustment. You need to know that that's what an outline is. It exists for the things that are between the bullet points to change and be fluid. Don't box yourself into one outline and feel like, I wrote this outline before I ever started drafting the book, and now that's what the book is forever. I know that this outline of book 2 is not going to be the finished publishable version of this outline when that book is done. I know there's going to be a lot of change because I've now experienced that with book 1. So the secret to writing a great outline and outlining a great book is allowing yourself to make changes to it as you go, and not being too attached to the initial plan that you put in place for yourself. That being said, I think when you know those changes are coming, or when you're in the process of making those changes, that's where it can be really, really important to go back to that root imaginative idea that you had. And that's what I've been really trying to do over these past 2 weeks. It's been really hard. And honestly, the only way I ended up being able to crack through it was just by sitting down tonight and being like, start with what you know. I knew Act 1 was the way it's going to be. So I wrote down and outlined Act 1. And then I got through 2 or 3 bullet points that felt hard. And I didn't finish writing out those bullet points because that's where I'm at in the story right now. And then I skipped down and I kept going to the ideas I've had for the rest of the book and what I currently have written in draft 1 of the, parts 2 and part 3. And so I took what is currently existent and I took what I think could be improved upon and started writing the bullet points I thought could happen. And then that gave me the freedom to be able to go back and write in what I've been roadblocked on. And I think that kind of change, the changes I'm making to this book are kind of substantial in terms of when I first started this project, I wouldn't have known this was the way the story would go. But if I had stayed glued to what the project first was, I think this book would be failing and I'd probably be ready to shelf it. So anyway, that's the secret sauce to outlining a great book, is to knowing that you don't outline a great book on the first try most of the time. So give yourself grace in that. That's just the theme of this channel lately, is give yourself grace. But yeah, that and try multiple things. I feel like sometimes I have to try, what if this scene was the catalyst for this plot shift happening? And sometimes it works and other times it doesn't. And I'm having to learn that right now in revision, where I have certain scenes in place that I'm going to have to go back and rewrite because I have them in place as catalysts and they're not the right catalysts. But I just figured out what was, so I can go back and change that. So anyway, those are my tips there. I'm going to stop rambling. I'm going to do my best to outline a little bit of book 2 tonight, and depending on what I get done, I might check in again. Otherwise, I might see you guys tomorrow. Here's the update. We will be outlining book 2 tomorrow because we're going home in 10 minutes. So as much as I wish I could outline a whole book in 10 minutes, I'm not that good. So we won't be doing that. Anyway, yeah, we'll pick up on this tomorrow, but I'm really proud and excited of the work we got done today. And honestly, I needed this. So it feels like a great catalyst to bump me into tomorrow and outline all of book 2 and then have one off day and then start drafting book 2 on Friday. So yeah, crazy times. I'll see you tomorrow. Hi, it's the next day. I did not end up getting any outline done. Wow. I did not end up getting any outlining done during the day today, but I have about an hour before my husband and I have to be at small group. So I'm going to try to get what I can done before going to that. Also just had to share my delicious dinner with you guys. Okay, basically this is a leftover hamburger that's grass-fed beef with some leftover roasted broccoli, some feta cheese, edamame, and kale, and then sauteed mushrooms and onions. I'm like, okay. Protein-packed veggies. So I'm going to eat this. And I'm also going to work on some outlining. We're going to work on outlining. Okay, let's get into it. What is absolutely crazy to me is that yesterday, even before I sat down to re-outline book 1 and finish up some of the stuff that I hadn't decided on for revision, I had no ideas in my brain of how to fix it. Like, I literally, before sitting down, was like, you should be brainstorming, and I was trying to think all day long, couldn't do it. As soon as I actually sat down and started just typing, just starting with my character's name and being like, this happens to this character, all of a sudden it was like the floodgates opened. And I felt the same way with this when I talked to you guys 10 minutes ago about eating dinner and outlining book 2. I still didn't have any solid scene ideas in mind of what was going to happen. I just knew big picture things that needed to shift, but I really didn't know the tangible ways how. And as soon as I sat down and started typing, now I have all these ideas. And it's like, sometimes you just have to give yourself the chance to prove your writer's block wrong. That's what I've learned. So even if you're like, I don't have any ideas, still go try, because sometimes you might. It's just that when you're trying to think of them instead of write them, they might not flow. I don't know if that made sense or is a relatable experience for anybody, but that's where I'm at. Hi, it's been a few days. It is now Thursday, the 31st, so happy Halloween. Sorry, Bennett's crying. Come here. You want to say hi to the people? Say hi to the people. He's looking out the window. Bennett, say hey to your people of OfferTube. Say hey, what's up? My name is Bennett. Yeah. He's distracted by the people outside, so. Mwah. Okay, anyway, yes, sorry. Okay, so I think the last time that we talked, I'll have to look, but I'm pretty sure the last time that we talked was maybe yesterday. If not, it was Tuesday night. So I know I finished outlining the rest of revision for book 1 Tuesday night, shared that with you guys. I recorded my kind of like reactions as I was outlining it. I got really excited because I finally had some things fall into place that were like plot issues I could not figure out for the life of me. And that finally fell in place, which made me feel so much more confident about then outlining book 2. And this is kind of insane, but yesterday, oh yeah, I showed you my dinner. We did talk. I'm so goofy. Anyway, yesterday I sat down and got to outlining, and I ended up getting about 2.25 pages of the book outlined, or like worth of outlining done. Which I'm pretty sure that this second book is easily going to be... Sorry, Bennett was scratching himself. I am pretty confident that this book is easily going to be 100,000 words or more. So what I have outlined right now is at the bare minimum, the half of the book. So I'm confident now going into Nano, which starts tomorrow, to draft 50,000 words based off this outline. So anyway, in my opinion, the secret to outlining a good book, I know in the beginning of this video, I talked about leaving room for change. That is definitely one of the most important things. If you block yourself in, then a lot of the times the outline will get stalled or the drafting process will get stalled, especially if once you're drafting, you realize that what you had outlined is not the natural flow the story is supposed to take. And then the second thing that is the secret to outlining is to just try. I think that it feels overwhelming a lot when you're trying to think of a whole story. Use your resources like Save the Cat, but also just trust your gut as a storyteller and try. Sit down, write down your ideas, bullet point them out, and see what you come up with. And don't be afraid to keep trying until it feels right. And so that is the main secret, in my opinion, right now with where I'm at with writing, to outlining well, is to just try and give yourself room and permission to change it as you go. Okay, as I was saying, apologies. I feel like the end of this video is a little bit chaotic. This outro is not the most coordinated thing in the world. Sorry about that. Part of that is because I am trying to finish filming this so that way I can edit it and put it up for you guys before Nano gets into full swing, because I want you to have all the Nano inspiration or writing challenge inspiration, whatever you're calling it. Anyway, I went ahead and scheduled some live November writing sprints on my channel for the rest of the month. I have 3 currently scheduled. There's a couple that I'm planning on putting on the calendar with other author tubers. So I want to at least do 3 solo ones, and then there will be other ones where I'm with other people and do co-hosting and so much fun stuff like that. So make sure that you are watching those dates, and I'd love it if you'd join me if you could. Good luck on all your writing projects. I know that tomorrow is a daunting day, and some of us are feeling very prepared. Some of us are feeling like, holy moly, what am I getting myself into? And others are feeling a really good mix of both, and I think that's me. I'm a 50-50. So anyway, yeah. If you like this video, if you like this content, if you want to follow along on my journey of becoming a debut self-published author, then please feel free to subscribe to this channel and hang out. And don't forget to like and comment, introduce yourself. I love to get to know new people on this channel and continue building this community. We officially hit 1,000 subscribers from my last video to now, so thank you so much. Okay. Bennett says thank you too. Anyway, thank you so much for that, guys. It really means the world to me. I'm very, very excited for where this channel is going and all the content.
What are you barking at?
And all the content that's being made. So make sure you stick around if you're interested in it. And I will see you guys next. Noah.
I was already in it.
And I will see you guys next week for another video. Bye.